And we're back! Hello! Welcome to the Hypertrophy Odyssey, Chapter 39. Today, it is the Vampire Killer upper body workout. Gotta say it twice, so that way in editing, I can do it correctly. Anyways, so today, I'm a little tired, nothing too crazy, but just a little bit. Tricep feels a little funky, but it should be fine. It's nothing too crazy. On my way to the gym currently, going to the local one, so the usual spot, so you're gonna see the usual stuff. Not going to a different one, although I might go to another one next week just because I like changing it up a little bit. It's very nice. It adds a little bit of variety and spice to the world. But speaking about spice and variety of the world, I can't find a better transition than to talk about the main subject hand of today, and that is influencers. Yes, I don't know why, but I saw someone today on a video call themselves an influencer, and something along the lines of influencers get no respect. I'm assuming it's tongue-in-cheek. I'm hoping it's tongue-in-cheek. There you go. That's a better way of describing it, because at this point, I think I don't want to say it's cringe to call yourself an influencer, but I also want to say to refer to yourself as an influencer is interesting. I have no idea how else to describe it except for interesting, because influencer is such a broad term that is interspersedly used in social media nowadays, which isn't necessarily that good. I mean, people like to say they want to be an influencer. Technically, that is what this technical job that I'm doing here is, but at the same time, I don't consider myself that. I'd rather be an entertainer, because there's a huge difference, and I feel like the term influencer has been, I don't want to say bastardized, but it's more of a term that people don't realize is super broad and catch-all term for these things. I think it's just funny to hear people who are, quote, influencers talk about other influencers and discuss cult-like behaviors and stuff like that. It's just funny to me, because personally, they're all cult-like behaviors, you retards. That's what makes it so funny to me personally. Everybody that has some sort of influence or one another, it has cult-like behaviors. It is one of those things that it is very rare to possibly get away from, and even those who want to get away from it, it's such a difficult task, and or they get big enough where it is almost impossible to do. And it's funny to me that people will try to shame others when in reality the same things can be happening to them. When it comes to fitness influencers particularly, there is a very much cult-like mentality that happens along with it, and people treat the gym like a cult and all that other stuff. But influencers, generally speaking, are people that will use their platform or influence to tell others what to think or give their opinion about something. Most of the time, it's just funny to hear somebody call themselves an influencer, because there's something about it. It's kind of like if I were to call myself like a filmmaker or something. I'm not a filmmaker. There's a certain level of practice and skill and competency that goes with actual true filmmaking that I do not have all at once, and I could have if I tried, but I'm not making films here. It always pissed me off when Casey Neistat would call himself a filmmaker. I always found that kind of like, I get it, but also no, dude, you're making videos on YouTube, you're making blogs, all right? If you're calling yourself an influencer, no, you're just a person on social media. You're hopeful to become an influencer. Realistically, you're hopeful that people will listen to you, and then you can shill out your stupid ass product. I hate that there's like no in between, and also the fact that people immediately, once they have an audience of 10, they'll immediately start getting a bigger head than is really necessary. So that is just funny to me. I would never want to call myself an influencer. I find the term not necessarily disgusting, but I'd rather never call myself that. If I'm anything, I'm an entertainer, because I've had this long and arduous conversation with myself before when I used to be a streamer, and I had a long and thought-filled battle where I just wrote down my thoughts about these things, and all I could tell is I have a whole rant about the term content too, but the term influencer is a little less detail-oriented than something like content. But as I said before, I am nothing but an entertainer. If somebody gets influenced by me, that is on them and not myself, because obviously I will suggest things, but I can't stop the person from doing something, that's on them, obviously. But to call myself something like an influencer is just hilarious. I would never do that. It's so asinine. Maybe if I ever do call myself an influencer one day, you'll know that I've reached into the cult-like state and I'm starting to control people directly underneath me and telling them what to do and stuff. You know, this is the sign. So later, if you ever need to point it out at me, whenever I reach a good level of popularity, boom, there you go. You have the ammo to strike me down. So it's just funny to me personally. Even though I record stuff at the gym, I do stuff, you know, I'm recording in my car and all that other stuff. I like to think that because you're doing that, it gives you some type of like weird privilege or like an exception at the gym. Like, I don't care if people walk in front of the camera. That is their right. It's a public space. I am just filming my stuff. I always found those people to be literally disgusting, but they've already been shamed enough, and if they haven't been, they need to be shamed even more, because there's not enough shame in this social media game nowadays, especially because if somebody looks halfway decent, they're willing to be forgiven, which is terrible. Like, come on, dude, you should have let this lady go. But anyway, that's a whole other discussion as well. We'll have a discussion about Instagram someday, but today, influencer. I'll probably have more to talk about in the voiceover section, I have a feeling, but right now I'm trying to hold it all together a little bit, you know, just trying to be calm, cool, collected. It doesn't necessarily piss me off, but it's more of it tickles me pink type of thing. And it's just kind of, it goes both ways as well. I'm very excited to get into a little bit of the cult-like status when we get into the voiceover, because I know in the voiceover, I'm going to talk about one particular group of people that I've had a discussion about that are easily influenced by this one person who could probably, if they wanted to, you know, start a war, start a genocide, start like doing stuff that's terrible. But, you know, it's not going to happen, thankfully, hopefully, but you never know. So we'll talk about that on the other side. I'll see you on the inside.
Alright, so first here we start off with overhead press. Only did 2 sets of these because I knew they were going to be tough when I went up in weight. So I got a 7 on both of them, so I was pretty happy about that. I'm going to wait to get 2 sets of 10 before I move up in the set range. So as I was alluding to in the car, I wanted to talk about the group of Swifties. Yes, Swifties. Swifties are a crazy group of people that will follow Taylor Swift to the ends of the earth. Imagine that the NFL are trying to capitalize on the Swiftie bandwagon because of Taylor Swift and her happenstance to be dating a player that is also going to the Super Bowl is mouth-watering for them with the amount of extra eyeballs that they are going to get because of Taylor Swift. Now, obviously, Taylor Swift is not a dictator, nor most likely than not will she be allowed to say anything too crazy, obviously. But the thing is, if she was to say, hey, you know what, screw this person or screw that person, she could probably have them destroyed by some crazy-ass Swiftie. Let's be real, 100%. There was that weird AI-generated, I can't use the term, but images of Taylor Swift that recently got the attention of, and that was a big issue, obviously, but it also became huge where any Swiftie that even saw half of it would instantly report any Twitter account that would post those pictures. So it was like they were a straight mafia on there. They are insane, but also it's crazy the amount or the level of influence that these people have. It's crazy the level of influence that creators in general have on people. But that's where I wanted to go talk a little bit more about the fact that influencer is more of a base term for more than just influencing. So, you know, you get social media influencer, but realistically you can get other forms of art can be an influence on others. So for example, Taylor Swift is a musical artist. Casey Neistat makes videos. He's a vlogger. I would consider him a vlogger or something like that. Respect to Casey Neistat, by the way. I still like his videos and stuff. Can't shit too much on himself, or I can't shit too much on him because I do like his stuff. So even though I hate that he calls himself a filmmaker, I can respect that he at least keeps trying. So there is that, and I respect his style and stuff. These extremely popular and charismatic people could easily, if they wanted to, turn their platforms into cult-like things that people will join and gladly follow along with, which is something that people, I guess, don't realize or just are blatantly ignoring because these people are creative people as well. But usually the creative ones are also the influencing ones. So it is a double-edged sword. So you got to be careful about that, really, and have a self-awareness about that type of stuff. But with that being said, being a social media influencer is something that I have to give a slight prop to, in that it isn't the simplest thing, that there is some modicum of level of work that you have to kind of get to do it, honestly, at a sustained level at least. There goes a lot into it, which is a very interesting thing to think about, because there's so many factors, because, you know, the social media game is very fickle and stuff. But that's why I feel like being just an influencer and chasing trends like many of them do seems to be a no-sum game. There's a word I'm looking for, or term I'm looking for. But basically, you know, doing stuff like that is not sustainable in the long term, especially since the social media game is so quick to churn out as many new faces and new things as humanly possible. With all that being said, there are some people that without a doubt just stumble into the success, and they do not deserve the success. They are people that end up doing something ridiculously stupid, and then all of a sudden they have money coming in, which ridiculous. Honest to God, ridiculous. But there is something to be said that, you know, good on them. Good job and good luck to them. But it's the sustainability of keeping it going is really the other half of the battle. The other obvious trope that I think of when it comes to influencers and stuff like that, it's mostly that there are certain general tropes that happen with somebody becoming an influencer. So, you know, the holding the camera out in the social media game, you know, the, hey guys, what's going on? You know, it's, you know, it's me, Oscar Prism, you know what I mean? Back at it again. You know, there's certain like voices or things that become very trope-like, and it's kind of cringe. Let's be real here. It's kind of cringe. But also, at the same time, most people don't care. It's like a weird, like, thing where it's like, all right, you're recording out in public, but a lot of people don't end up caring as much as you would think they would. So it's kind of it's a double-edged sword. But then there are people who do care and, in fact, go out of their way to be an asshole about it, which is also kind of annoying. But also, it's like, all right, if I'm going to be in the background of your video, I'm going to be annoying to you too. So I kind of understand where that's coming from. And by now you've probably realized that the thumbnail for this video is just a trope and a play on all of the exaggerated thumbnail that makes absolutely zero sense whatsoever with what's actually happening in the video. So it's something that I'm just playing it up for laughs on this one, just because why not?
Soy face for the thumbnail. And we're back. We are back. Welcome to the workout debriefing. Exercise is not filmed. What didn't I film? Oh, what the hell didn't I film? Farmer's carries. There you go. I've my brain is just shutting down ever so slightly. I need to get some food in me. But yeah, no farmer's carries filmed. Didn't find a spot for it. Also, only ended up doing one. My right arm just felt weird when I did it, so I was like, I'm not gonna do any more. So I just did one set. One set technically. That was that. Nothing else skipped. What is it? Nothing else skipped per se. Yeah, nothing else was skipped or done like that. I was fluctuating with the set range, I guess, or how many sets I was doing today, because I really wanted to take it easy on a couple things, mostly overhead press, because I knew that was going to be a bitch and a half since I was going up in weight. Anyways, to put a little bit of a bow on the entire idea or concept of the influencer, I think I want to say this. There's nothing wrong with necessarily wanting to be an influencer, but hopefully those who you give your attention to become an influencer is an actual good person rather than a bad influence and or somebody that will just lead you down a road to hell, because there's a lot of those people, and a lot of people are just wanting to become popular to be able to get money and sell things to you, where you have to pick and choose your battles as to who you listen to and who you don't. And I think most people, not everybody, but most people have a general sense of whether somebody is truthful or not, and or they are trying to just either sell you something or trying to actually see change, help you out with their information or knowledge and stuff, or outlook in life. You have to be on top of that personally and be very cognizant of that fact, because there are people out there that will instantly sell out the moment that they have some modicum of popularity, and those people are highly suspect in the first place, because they want the money first and then the information comes second. So it's like, you see the people that sell out by a lot the moment that they become popular. There's nothing wrong with taking partnerships or like selling a product, whatever. I don't really care for that. Supplements are a whole other discussion. I don't necessarily care if you are partnered with a supplement company, but it's one of those things that if the moment that you get the chance to do it and you jump on the first thing, there is something to be said about that. That is, I don't want to say necessarily scummy, but it's definitely, you can tell the level of distrust goes up with the person that you are following. So be aware of that. And there's nothing wrong with being an influencer if you want to do that. But also, I would think that you should probably aspire to be doing more than just influencing people, if that makes any sense. So for me personally, I would like to entertain. I would like to be, I don't want to use this term because I hate this term. Personally, it just sounds very flamboyant, but thought-provoking. There you go. I dislike that term personally, but thought-provoking. Somebody that actually makes you think for like a second or two. With that being said, I don't necessarily see myself as just an influencer, but something more than that. And I think that's also an issue with some people who get into the game of influencing and they don't really realize there's a second level to it, or a creative level to it. Because I think the people that stick around, like a Casey Neistat or something like that, are people that also have artistic merit to them, as well as some type of entertainment merit to it. Storytelling or something along those lines. People that just churn out the constant content without real depth to it, like drama or something like that, really just doesn't really do much, and you can really forget those people by the wayside because they do absolutely nothing to add value to your life. They got to be careful, Some people will take it away. We didn't even scratch the surface. About the possibilities of having influencers and body dysmorphia, because that's a whole other subject, and that'll be a whole other video that we'll get into on another time. But with that being said, thank you very much for watching. I appreciate it. Please let me know in the comments what you think about the term influencer, and or any influencers that you ended up watching because they were good, or stopped watching because you realized they were a bad influence. I would love to hear your thoughts on that. Thank you very much for watching. I appreciate it. Like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you very much. Share the video if you haven't, please, for the love of God. No, I'm just playing. You don't have to. But thank you very much for watching. I appreciate it. I will see you on the next one. Peace.